In this lecture, we will try to understand the importance of DevOps culture, CI/CD pipelines, which is widely adopted by the industries. Companies want to build high quality apps, and they are building the high quality apps by increasing the efficiency and accuracy of its testing process. Companies are able to produce higher quality apps in a shorter time frame for its customers. They also want to reduce the cost of software development. They are using the CI tools, the CI which aims at refining the integration process, thus breaking it down into a simple daily development task, which again going to help to minimize the build cost and detect defects early in the software lifecycle. As you know, time is money. By developing your app to the market in time, this would not only engage your customer better, but would also assure profits, support pricing, and advanced market goal as well. Time to market as an indicator of profitability. Let us imagine a scenario where the complete source code of the applications was built and then deployed on a test server for testing. So it sounds like a perfect way to develop a software. But this process may have many flaws, like a developer have to wait till the complete software is developed for the test result. There is a high possibility that the test result might show multiple bugs. It was tough for the developers to locate those bugs because they have to check the entire source code of the applications, which again slow the software delivery process. Again, the continuous feedback is also missing, due to which the quality of the software can go down as well. And the whole process was manual, which increased the risk of frequent failure. This leads to customer dissatisfactions, and so company want to overcome such a chaos. There was a dire need for a system to exist where a developer can continuously trigger a build and test for every change made in the source code. This is what CI is all about. In the CI, first a developer commits the code to the source code repository. Meanwhile, the Jenkins server, a build server, checks the repository at a regular intervals for changes. Soon after a commit occurs, the Jenkins server detects the changes that have occurred in the source code repository. Jenkins will pull those changes and will start preparing a new build. If the build fails, the concerned team will be notified. If the build is successful, then Jenkins deploys the build in the test server. And after testing, Jenkins generates a feedback and then notifies the developer about the build and test result. It will continue to check the source code repository for changes made in the source code, and the whole process keeps on repeating. Welcome to this lecture. In the last lecture, we saw what is the continuous integrations and why do we need the continuous integration. Let's imagine there are 100 developers working on a large project. They are using continuous integrations pipeline in order to facilitate automated builds. We know builds include unit testing as well. One day they decided to deploy the latest build that had passed the unit test into a test environment. This must be a lengthy but controlled approach to deployment that their environment specialists carried out. However, the system didn't seem to work. what might be the obvious cause of the failure. They spent a lot of time trying to find what was wrong with the configurations of the environment, but they couldn't find the problem. Then one of the senior developers tried the application on his development machine and it didn't work there either. Then he stepped back through earlier and earlier versions until he found that the system had stopped working 3 weeks earlier. A teeny obscure bugs had prevented the system from starting correctly. Although the project had good unit test coverage, despite this, 100 developers who usually only ran the test rather than the application itself did not see the problem for 3 weeks. Without running the acceptance test in a production-like environment, they know nothing about whether the applications met the customer specifications, nor whether it can be deployed and survive in the real world. If they want timely feedback on this topic, they must extend the range of their continuous integration process. Took the continuous integrations to the next step and introduce a couple of simple automated acceptance tests that prove that the application ran and could perform its most fundamental functions. The majority of the tests running during the acceptance test stage are functional acceptance tests. Basically, they build a continuous delivery pipeline in order to make sure that the application is seamlessly deployed on the production environment, by making sure that the applications work fine when deployed on the test server, which is a replica of the production server. So this is what about the continuous delivery. Enough of the theory. I will now show you how to create a continuous integrations and continuous delivery pipeline using Jenkins and other DevOps tools. Hi, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to create a simple CI pipeline. And as we progress, we are going to add more complexity to our project. Let's say we are developing some application and our developer developing the application using Java language. So here we are going to build the Java code. We are not going to write any code here since we are getting all the codes from the Java developers. In this continuous integration pipeline, in this simple continuous integration pipeline, the Java developer are going to push the code to GitHub, and from GitHub the Jenkins is going to pull the code, and by using Maven it's going to build the artifact. So it's very simple CI pipeline. The prerequisite of this course of this simple CI pipeline is that we need to have a Java code, we need to have a GitHub account, we need to have Jenkins server installed, we also need to have Java and Maven installed, and we have to configure Maven and Java in Jenkins, as well as we need to download a Maven invoker plugin which we are going to use for building the artifact in Jenkins. So let's see how to do it. So here on my Jenkins dashboard, I already log in. So if you see in the left side, there is a Manage Jenkins. If I click there, then I have to go to Manage Jenkins, Manage Plugins, and let me check whether I already installed the Maven Invoker plugin or not. I think I already installed the Maven Invoker plugin. But in your case, if it is not installed, then you have to select the available tab and search here Maven Invoker plugin. In my case, because I already installed it is not showing under the available tab. But if it is not installed in your Jenkins server, you will be able to see it here. You just have to select it and install without restart. Once you're done with this, then come back to the Jenkins desktop, click the Manage Jenkins. Now we have to go to Global Tool Configuration section. Under this section, we have to configure Java. You can see JDK here. Click on here. You have to provide the name. You have to provide the Java home. My Java home path is this. You have to provide your JDK path. And for the Maven, you have to give the name and provide the Maven home and save it. So let's go back to the Jenkins dashboard and create one simple project. Let's say hello Java world, and select the freestyle project. Click on OK. So if you just scroll down, you can see the source code management. Under this, you can find the Git, and here you have to provide the URL where your project is reside. And my project is currently under the GitHub and under this directory. In case you do not have this project, this simple Java world project, if this project is not available to your account, do one thing: visit this URL and you can find fork here, and you just click the fork so that the project will be available to your account. It will be available to your account. So under your username, you will find hello Java world, and then you have to come here and just copy this URL and paste it here. This project is publicly available and it is under the public repository. That's the reason I do not need to provide any credential. But in your case, if it is in a private directory, then you have to provide the credentials. Okay, so branch to build. So if you just visit my GitHub account, and under the branch section, if you see, it's master only. If I click here, you can see only master branch. There is no any other branch. But in real-time project, you will have a different branches. You will have a development branch, you will have a release branch, you will have a feature branch, and likewise. So SCM part is done with repository URL, and we also mentioned the master branch. If I scroll down, I can see the build sections. Under this, I can see the add build step. If I click here, I can see the invoke top level Maven targets. We install the even invoker plugins, right? That's the reason we are able to see this. Now we have to provide the informations. Under the invoke top level Maven targets, under the gold sections, we have to define what we are going to do. We are going to clean, install, and package. This is a Maven build lifecycle. It's going to clean the target directory. Installment, it install the package into the local repository, and packagement, it take the compile code and package it in its distributed format such as jar. So now let's save the project. And now if you just click the build now, this one, you will see the build number 1. And if I just click on the build, I can see the console output. Here I can see the logs. Our build is successful and the webapps.war file is generated under the workspace. That's it for the build part. See you in the next lecture. Take care. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In previous video, we saw how to configure Maven, Java in Jenkins, and how to build a simple CI pipeline. So let's assume a scenario. After I commit code to GitHub, I want to ensure my code quality. I want to know the bugs, vulnerabilities, code smell, etc. for my code before I build my code automatically with Jenkins. and I want this activity to perform every time I commit code. So how to achieve this? We have a very good tool called SonarQube, which is an open source tool that assists in code quality analysis and reporting. It can report duplicated code, code entered, unit test, code coverage, code complexity, comments, and it supports more than 20 programming languages. It scans your source code looking for potential bugs, vulnerabilities, and maintainability issues, and then present the result in a report which will allow you to identify potential issues in your application. The SonarQube tool itself is made up of two parts: a scanner, which is an application that would be installed locally on the developer machine to do the code analysis, and a centralized server for record keeping and reporting. So one part is a scanner and another is centralized server. A single SonarQube server instance can support multiple scanners, which enable you to centralize code quality report from many developers in a single place. You will deploy a SonarQube server and scanner to analyze your code and create code quality reports. Then you will perform a test on your machine by scanning an example code with the SonarQube scanner. In this, as soon as the developer commit the code to GitHub, Jenkins will pull the code from the repository and will perform a static code analysis with the help of Sonar Scanner and send analysis report to SonarQube server. Then it will automatically build the project code. In the next lecture, we are going to install the SonarQube and we are going to use it as well in our CI pipeline. So see you in the next lecture. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to install SonarQube on Windows, and we are also going to use it for the static code analysis for one of our Java project. So let's begin with the installations. For this, we need to download the SonarQube installer. Let me open my browser and search for download the SonarQube. You can see the URL sonarcube.org/downloads. If you just click here, you can find the downloader, the community-based editions. Just download this one. If you want some earlier versions, like show all versions, in this course we are using 6.2. When I was working on 7.8, so I'm just sticking with the 6.2. If you click the community edition here, this pop-up window will come up and it will ask you to save this zip file which having the SonarQube installer. Hit OK and save it on your hard disk, but I already have it, so I'm not going to save it here. So let me go to the directory where I have it. So this is my installer and this is the path. You have to copy this zip file under the C directory where your OS is running. So under the C, I created one folder called DevOps, and under that folder, I copied the SonarQube installer. Just right click here and extract here. Once the extraction is complete, right, go to the SonarQube and build folder. Here my installer is on the 64-bit operating system, so I will go here and just type cmd here. So we are under this directory right now. To start the SonarQube, we have to run start sonar bat file. Once you hit enter, right, it's going to start the SonarQube. By default, SonarQube is running on 9000 port. It will take 2 to 3 minutes to start the SonarQube. So we need to wait for SonarQube. So we need to wait for 2 to 3 minutes. So look like the SonarQube is running. Let's visit the SonarQube server. As I said earlier, it runs on port 9000. So this is our SonarQube server dashboard. Now logging to it. By default, SonarQube having the username and password as admin. So I'm just using the default password. Admin is username as well as password. Now we want to integrate this SonarQube with the Jenkins. For that, we need to have some security token which give the access. Here under the security and some generate one token here. Under this security, create a new token. Let me call it as Jenkins Sonar. Click on generate. So this is the token. We need to copy this token. Let me copy this token. Now we have the security token. So we can integrate the SonarQube with the Jenkins. For this, we just need to access our Jenkins. Jenkins 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So using my username. Okay, so here on my Jenkins dashboard, we need to visit the Manage Jenkins, and under this there is a Manage plugin. So let me check if I install. Okay. So this SonarQube scanner for Jenkins we need to install. You can see here I already installed the SonarQube scanner for Jenkins, but if it is not installed in your system, then you have to select this available tab and search here SonarQube scanner, but it's not showing because I already installed it. The name of the plugin is, let me copy the name of the plugin for you. This one. This plugin you have to install in Jenkins. So now we install the Jenkins plugin. It's time to configure the SonarQube server in Jenkins. So go to the Jenkins dashboard under the Manage Jenkins sections. Under the config system, you will be able to see the Sonar servers. Okay. So you have to provide the name, the server URL, and the server authentication token. So maybe in your system you do not have this because you didn't created any credential. So if you create the credential, then you will be able to see the authentication token here. Let me show you how to create the credential. To create the credential, click here, credentials, and look, I have the credential here, right? Jenkins. So let me show you how to create a credential. If I select this one and here add credential, select sacred text, copy this token, whatever that name you want to assign, you can give it to it, and just click OK, so that you will be able to see it here. The one I created here was Sonar. So let me go back to manage Jenkins. We already configured the SonarQube server, right? Under these configurations, right? We gave the name, we gave the server URL, and also the server authentication token. Now we have to configure SonarQube scanner. So how to configure the SonarQube scanner? You have to go visit this global tool configuration. Click on it. You will be able to find, SonarQube. You will SonarQube. You will be able to find, SonarQube scanner. Click on it. Give some name to it. Select the Maven Central version. I selected 2.8 and install automatically, and just save it. All Sonar related installations and configurations are completed. Now we need to add a build step to execute the SonarQube scanner. Right, for that, click on here, SonarQube demo. Select freestyle project. Click OK. If you just click the source code management and select the Git and provide the repository URL. So I'm going to use this Spring Pet Clinic project, and I'm going to copy this URL and paste it here. Okay, so branch to build is master. Keep it as master and go to the build section and click on add build steps. Click on the invoke top level Maven targets. Select the version, select the gold. Let me say package. So under this goal, we are saying what we want to do with this project. This is reading the POM file, right? This POM file for building the artifact. So now click add. Now just select the Java 8 is required. I already configured the Java, that's the reason I'm getting this option here. So analysis property, we need to provide some analysis property. We need to fill the required metadata, that is a Sonar project K. You can give any name to it. I'm saying simple Java Sonar, and then another property is Sonar project name. I'm calling that project is simple Java Sonar Cube project, and another one is Sonar dot project version equal to, let's say, 1.0. Now the required metadata is done. It's time for the separated path to directories with sources, which is again required field. Says Sonar sources equal to src. Okay, so this we are saying this source where our code is, our source code is reside. I'm just going to click it and test, right? So source code is under source folder, and language we are using Java, right? So language Sonar, language Java, it's Java. Okay, and then encoding, we have encoding, we need to provide the encoding as well, encoding details, encoding of the source files. So which encoding we have? Okay, UTF-8 we have to say encoding of the source file, right? Sonar encoding UTF-8, that's it. And now just scroll down a little bit. Now go to the post build action section and take the publish. Where is the publish? Publish change it test report, right? When Maven runs unit test in a project, it automatically generates the XML test report in a directory called show file report. So we have to provide dash star target show file dash reports slash star dot xml. The two asterisk at the start of the path, best practice to make the configurations a bit more robust. They allowed Jenkins to find the target directory no matter how we have configured Jenkins to check out the source code. Okay, and now just save it. Apply and save. Go on build now. Click on this job. So as you can see here, the analysis is successful and it's giving you a URL. You need to share this URL with your Java developers. Yeah, this URL. By visiting this URL, your Java developer will come to know the bugs. So they can find out where is the bugs, and if they click on the code, they will come to know on which class or which Java file there is a bugs or vulnerabilities or code smell or duplications or coverage. All this information they can see here. After seeing this, they can take the necessary measures to improve the code quality. By using this, we are improving the code qualities, which is again we can say it's a continuous inspections. This is how the companies are creating the best quality, high quality apps. Thanks for watching. See you in the next lecture. Hi, welcome to this lecture. Now our build is successful and the next step is to package our application in a WAR file and deploy that on the Tomcat server for user acceptance test. So what is the user acceptance test? It is the last phase of the software testing process. During the UAT, actual software user tests the software to make sure it can handle the required task in real-world scenario. In many companies, the site reliability engineer automate the acceptance testing by building a continuous integrations, continuous development pipeline within a DevOps initiative. This UAT is typically the last step before the live or before the delivery of the product is accepted. Once it passes the UAT, then the product is ready to deploy on production server. That's enough for the theory. Let's install the Tomcat first. Open your favorite browser and search for Apache Tomcat download. You can see here the official Tomcat website address. Click on it, and on the left side you can see the version which you want to download it. So we are going to download the Tomcat 9. Click on it. Now it's going to give you the installer. So my system currently is a 64-bit Windows, so I'm going to copy this 64-bit Windows zip. Click on it, and you have to just copy this. Now let me go to the location where I downloaded this zip file. Right click on it and extract the file here. You will get this directory. It's called Apache Tomcat. And if you just go to the bin, here it's having all the files, like the startup files, shutdown files also. If you want to start the Tomcat, type cmd here. Now we are on a command prompt. So let's say I want to start the Tomcat. So type the startup and just hit enters. Okay, before installing the Tomcat, make sure that you already set your JRE path, which I already set up in my environment variable. This is my Java JDK path. I have the 1.8 JDK. Okay, you can see here the Apache Tomcat server is started here, right? So just visit the localhost. By default, Apache Tomcat server start on 8080 port. We can also change the port if it is required. I will show you how to do these things as well. So visit our Tomcat server, which is again localhost, and the default port is 8080. Hit enters. You can see here. Let me show you one thing here. If you just click the manage app, it's going to ask you the username and password. So this username and password we have to configure in Tomcat user.xml file. So let me show you how to do this. Let me open my Visual Code Editor. If I go to the file, open file, and under the conf, my Tomcat installation directory where I installed the Tomcat. Under that you can find the configuration directory. Under that you can find the Tomcat user. If I click open, you will see this page. By default, this section is commented. So to get access, we need to create one user and password along with it. So here I created the two users called admin and web servers, and we need to assign the role to it. So this is the steps you have to define under the Tomcat user. If you want to deploy your WAR files through the Jenkins, user should have the role of manager script. So let's say I have the user called web server and the password is web server. So let me log in. Yeah, now here you can see the docs, example, host manager, and welcome. So what you are actually here you are seeing is whatever that is mentioned under the web apps. You can see whatever we deploy here under the web app systems, you can see it in the Tomcat, right? So slash means root, and doc examples, hostname, manager, welcome. Let me delete this war file. So all this. So whenever we are going to deploy our war files, we have to deploy that war file under this directory. The war file that we are going to deploy on Tomcat server, it should be deployed under this directory, web apps. Okay. And let me show you the default port, that is a server.xml. You can find that file if you go to the Tomcat directory under the config itself, and here you can find the server. If you just click on here, you can see the default port. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, it is using 8080 as a default port. But if you want to change that port, you have to change the port here and restart the Tomcat server then. So now Tomcat installation and configuration is completed. Now to deploy the var and jar on Tomcat server, we need to provide Tomcat credential. The credential which we use here, let's say this one, this credential. So we have to provide this credential to the Jenkins. So let me go to the Jenkins dashboard. Okay, so under this credential, let me delete this credential to create a new one. Let me show you how to create the credentials. So let me delete this first. Okay, now click here, credential system global credential unrestricted. Let me go first, credential, then click on Jenkins, then click on global credentials, and then click on add credentials and username and password. So what's the username? And the password is same. I will say it at Tomcat and hit on OK. So this is the way we have to create the credential in Jenkins. So ready. So to deploy the var or jar file on Tomcat server, we need to have one plugin called deployer to container plugin. This plugin I'm referring this plugin, deployer to container plugin. We need to install this plugin on Jenkins. Once we install this plugin in Jenkins, we will get an option under the post-step actions that is called as deploy on container. Okay, so let me go to the Jenkins and under the manage Jenkins section, manage plugins. Let me check whether I already installed it or not. Okay, so I already installed this deployer to container plugin. But if it is not installed in your system, then do one thing. Click on available and search for deployer on container. Here you will get it here. Select that plugin and install without restart. Okay, so the plugin will be available. Now move to the static code analysis job. Click on the configure. We already did all these things in the continuous integration part, right? We also configure the SonarQube scanner properties here. Since we are using the SonarQube scanner, we have to make sure that our SonarQube scanner is up and running. That was it. We also created the JUnit test result. Now, yes. So if you just click add a post build action, you will be able to see the deploy var to a container. When you click on that, you will get these things. You just have to provide these details here. We are mentioning the var location here, the context path. The context path I put at welcome. You can say anything. Let's say you will come to know what is meant by the context path. Say anything, whatever you like. I said welcome. Now under the containers, I selected a Tomcat 8 container and I provided the credential which I created in Jenkins, and then I provided the Tomcat URL. Okay, so apply and save. Now run the build and see what happened. Click this job, click on the console output. Now it's running the SonarQube scanner for the static code analysis. Now it's deploying the var files to the Tomcat server. Now you can see the deployment is successful. It's deploy the var file, pid-clinix-var file. Let me verify the var file. The var file should get deployed under the web apps. Yeah, here you can see the welcome.var. So if you just refresh the Tomcat, you can see the welcome. This is the context path. And if I want to visit my website, the context path was welcome. Now just hit enter. You should be able to see the website. Yeah, this is the website. Got it. So now by using the continuous delivery pipeline, we are able to deploy the var file on the test server, where we are going to perform the unit acceptance test. Thanks for watching.